We don't want to be, into a community just going in there and then stepping out. We're there with them every day. We are part of the community. And this day is a special day because we're not only launching the South African Red Cross Society smartphone app, but it's also International Volunteer Day. And if you look at some of those banners out there, it says what the Red Cross did for our political leaders that were in prison under trying conditions, as well as what the Red Cross has done in South Africa for 92 years for the vulnerable communities. Now, why is it so important is the Red Cross is the largest volunteer-based organization in the world. Okay, I'm standing today in front of you as a CEO, but I worked as 12 years. All I was out as an engineer, but I volunteered in the Red Cross for over 15 years before I joined them as a management. So it's important that this app is going to take Red Cross out to the very people, out to the communities, for the corporates, for our friends and colleagues. So it's for you to preach the gospel of humanity, putting humanity first. And I always like to go with the slogan, it's our world and it's your move. So it's basically up to you to make this app work for the vulnerable people of South Africa. I want to hand you over to one of our partners from Connectik that has helped us develop this app so we can take it out to the public. Raj?
A very warm welcome, everyone, for attending tonight. It's a pleasure here to be here, especially being a technology partner with the South African Red Cross Society. I met Derick probably around 8 months ago. We were discussing after the Kenyan Red Cross Society launched that South Africa wanted an application as well. So in the period of 6 months, we developed, again, an application, the world's most advanced humanitarian aid app. It's available in both the Google Play stores as well as the Android stores as well, and the iOS stores. And it's free to download. It's also free to use as a guest user. And what we want is people today to actually download the app, get engaged, see what it's about, and ultimately it's about resource mobilization for the national societies. It's for them to help 5 million people as part of the 1 Billion Coalition initiative. And on top of that, it's to enlarge their membership base, get corporate people involved. We're looking at more volunteers getting involved, and streamlining the whole process for them. And that's what the application is about. So what I'll do now is play you a little video that explains everything, and we'll pick that up afterwards with any questions.
The South African Red Cross Society has had its humanitarian footprint etched in South Africa for the past 92 years. In 2007, the Society was given statutory recognition as an auxiliary to the South African government, allowing the Society to fulfill its mandate to prevent and alleviate human suffering and foster human dignity in all communities. The South African Red Cross Society utilizes its vast network to work alongside local communities, government, volunteers and members to deliver humanitarian relief and essential services to save the lives of the most vulnerable. The Society supports government by providing an on-the-ground service in emergency response, disaster management, training, healthcare and education to build and increase the resilience of people and the nation. The South African Red Cross Society is proud to introduce their smart app. Users can easily and securely sign up for the application by inputting their mobile phone number and verifying via SMS, instantly receiving life-saving emergency news. As an NPO providing services that evade human suffering, the South African Red Cross Society operates through a network of members and volunteers who assist in implementing the Society's mandate in all provinces throughout South Africa. There are 34 branches located around the country and over 4,000 volunteers who assist in implementing activities at provincial and local branch levels. Over the years, the Society's philanthropic actions have been made possible by the commitment of these members and volunteers. Become a South African Red Cross member today. Membership enrollment supports both individual and corporate plans, as well as provides an option to use the application as a guest user. Users can choose from multiple payment options that include PayPal and credit cards. Once on board, members have all the essential functionality right at their fingertips. The Society changes and saves lives by encouraging people to donate blood at their nearest blood donation centers. The South African African Red Cross Society Volunteer Management App assists the mobilization of resources, providing a platform for individuals and organizations to contribute to society. This allows the society to live by its mandate of alleviating human suffering through programs such as health and care education, humanitarian values, disaster preparedness, response management, and organizational development. The South African Red Cross Society is very proud of its 1 billion coalition projects. Showcasing the Society's projects allows members and volunteers to take an active part in these projects as well as donate to important causes. The South African Red Cross Society is pledging to reach 5 million people through this application in order to contribute to the 1 billion coalition initiative. Users can enroll in a wide variety of training programs throughout South Africa. It is important to stay up to date. Users can find the latest news and emergency alerts in the app's feed. Find information on exciting South African Red Cross Society events happening near you. Buy Red Cross supplies and merchandise easily and securely through the marketplace. Download the South African Red Cross Society app today. Make a change to see a change.
Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues, and I welcome you here tonight. We are a part of the largest humanitarian network that reaches over 150 million people in over 190 societies throughout 17 million volunteers. A collective part of action is to tackle the major humanitarian and development challenges of this decade. We committed in this fast-changing world of saving lives and changing minds. Our strength is in our volunteer network and our community-based expertise and our ability to give a global voice to vulnerable people. Your being part of this event tonight strengthens our theme of making the Red Cross available to the very communities that need care, support, be it in times of crisis, disaster, health emergencies, and social relief. As an end-to-end solution, the app will provide the Red Cross with a resource mobilization opportunity to increase our membership, our volunteer base, our program delivery, as well as our tools to improve community engagement. I use the word always there, always needed, which is our tagline, just to share some stories with you. Some of our efforts recently has been in our ability to assist during the Gauteng floods and fires during July and November this year. The two major disasters occurred, one being in Plastic View, where 856 people were displaced. We responded to that by providing food parcels and clothing. And in Alexandra Township, where more than 3,000 people were displaced recently, not forgetting the 3-year-old Everett Chauke, who died, who was actually found last week, who was swept away in their father's arms. We assisted 2,999 of those beneficiaries through the assistance of our volunteers by providing food, baby packs, hot meals, clothes, and dignity packs. We are also part of the 1 billion coalition, as the video has said, which is a new way of organizing and working with communities to allow collective solutions for communities and the Red Cross, including participating using the app on a social change, neighborhood engagements, and volunteerism. I also focus on the 16 days of activism in South Africa against women and children abuse. We are responding to a global call to achieve zero infection on HIV/AIDS by 2020 by raising awareness and to eradicate the abuse of women and children, especially during the 25th to the 5th of December, which ends today. As we observe these 16 days, I am reminded by a quote by our president, Mr. Peter Mora, of the International Committee of the Red Cross, in his speech at Constitutional Hill in October, that the role played by women in the struggle for freedom in South Africa, he said, oftentimes the history of conflict, both its perpetrators and its victims, it is portrayed like a history of men. Yet the more I travel the world, the more I see both the unique impacts of the oppression and violence on women, the significant role played by women in reducing and responding to armed violence. We should not forget that the role played by women in enabling communities to become normal and functional during and after crisis. We have over 4,000 volunteers in the Red Cross, and of those, I can proudly say 2,900 are women. This already shows the effective role played by women in our communities. Today marks the International Volunteer Day. It is the 5th of December, and the UN said we celebrate volunteerism in all its facets. Global applause, give volunteers a hand. That's the theme. We recognize volunteers worldwide and all they do in making peace and sustainable development a reality. Thank you to our volunteers for the continuous humanitarian efforts. How will the app work in South Africa? The app will enable public engagement, advocacy, outreach, and community mobilization, enlarge membership and volunteer base, support fundraising and including crowdsource funding engagement and volunteers of the youth, because that's how they communicate right now, training and education as first aid and disaster management, as well as fire management skills, public access warning and life emergency systems, public access emergency services such as ambulance, blood donations, etc. We also have needs assessment and financial tracking of emergency appeals, which avoids corruption during the times of these on disaster. Vulnerability and capacity assessments, and potentially building a country risk index. Asset management and deployment. These are all be seen when you download the app. Ladies and gentlemen, I am optimistic about South Africa and its people and the ability to serve humanity through the use of technology and to enable us to reach the most vulnerable, even in the most of the remotest of areas. I hope that you will download the app and to share it with your communities. Thank you.